Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to this week's Fleet Forum webinar, which is going to be facilitated by Tariq from WHO. Thank you all for joining today. As usual, we're going to do a quick audio video check. Can I ask you to use the chat box to confirm that you can see and hear us?
Hello, hello. Good morning, everyone.
There we go. I see some people typing. Fantastic, loud and clear. So I was saying.
Hello.
Yeah, apologies. Sorry, small technical issue from my side. So, welcome everyone. Thank you. Great to hear that you can hear us and see us. This is going to be a 30-minute webinar. If this is your first webinar joining, then just a few housekeeping rules. Please use the chat box. I see some of you already know this. Great, you are introducing yourself in the chat box. Please do that. Name, country, and which organization you're working with. I'm going to be handing the floor to Tariq soon, but just a little introduction on about this webinar. So I know transport booking systems and how to automate the journey management processes is a big topic for many of you, and we see quite some developments amongst our supplier members as well. But today is not a technical session. It's really about the change management. We hear from many of our organizations, oh, I'm not happy with my system. Why? Oh, and then we've done a lot of research around this, and we see a lot of it boils down to how we as an organization own our change process, right? And how do we roll out systems, not only thinking of it as a technical rollout, but really a change process. So Tariq is the regional fleet manager at WHO in the Eastern and Middle East region. He has a lot of experience in this area, and today he's going to be sharing with you how they have gone about implementing their transport booking system. I'm really excited. It's his first webinar, so please cheer on him as well. We love to do these types of practitioner webinars as well. And for the global fleet managers on the line today, I really hope also you take note from this, because I think Tariq is a great example of the value that a regional fleet manager can bring to the strategy of the organization. So yes, please pay attention to that as well. Tariq, the floor is yours. If anyone has
Thank you.
questions in the meantime, please use the chat box. We have saved some time for Q&A. Over to you, Tariq.
Thank you, Nikita. Thank you very much. Really appreciate giving me the opportunity today. Welcome, everyone. Happy to have you in this session today. In this session today, we're going to talk about WHO transport booking system, the journey. What were the benefits, the challenges, and what was the implementation strategies we followed. As Nikita said, I'm Tariq Ghazzawi. I'm the regional fleet manager with WHO in the EMRO region. I'm working with country offices to provide them with fleet management and journey management and road safety related support. So allow me just to begin with asking the major question. TBS, Transport Booking System. What is it? Well, for WHO, the transport booking system is an automated system that combines several requirements under one system. It's a standard vehicle usage data collection from all WHO offices. So we know how our vehicles are being used, what type of trips are being done in our fleets, and we can basically start analyzing our performance accordingly. The system is a smartphone and web-based applications. So the passenger would be able to transport or to submit their transport request ahead of time from their phone or their desk and on the go. It's a single system where fleet management and transport booking are managed in the same portal. So in this system, because it's more of an Uber-based system, the passenger can provide feedback on driver performance, and this as well shows in driver score sheet, which is in the fleet management system. And this as well has to do with us reading our performance when it comes to type of trips that we are doing, number of trips we are doing, the often visited places, so on and so forth. Of course, the ability to combine the cost, driver behavior data from the fleet management system with the usage data from the transport booking system is one of the major benefits we had in using such system. So let's ask the question: what are the benefits of having an automated transport request system? Well, the first benefit would be the full visibility on WHO transport needs and usage. And you have fair and accurate allocation of vehicle costs to the right users and programs. So if you have different programs and these programs has different budgets, and these budgets are so tight that you cannot even share the transportation cost, such an automated system can help you in allocating the cost according to the mileage that has been done by each and every program, or by, if you don't want to do the calculation by mileage, our system allows you either to do the cost allocation by mileage or by hourly or time related rates. Of course, this system is a more effective use of our vehicle assets, because this ensures better planning and better vehicle pooling. This has initiated a lot of vehicle sharing or trip sharing initiatives, where passengers usually uh, they just share their trips, and the dispatchers are able to have a look at the bigger picture, where they are able to identify where passengers can share trips, and they can do the communications accordingly. Of course, such activities have reduced our environmental impact, because we have optimized our journey management as much as possible. So let me tell you about the stakeholders in the rollout of such system, and how we did it, and what are the benefit for each stakeholder. So the first stakeholder and the main important stakeholder in our process is our driver. So the drivers right now, they are getting their assignments on their smartphones and on their emails. There are fewer last minute changes, because once the trip is scheduled, the only person that would be able to do amendments of the trip is the dispatcher, or the fleet manager that is managing the trips and the managing the schedule in general. For passengers, this is more of a paperless and contactless tool, where it provides a secure transport in time, and passengers can basically submit their trips. Not only submit them, passengers can submit their trips, duplicate them, and they can merge their trips. If they have more than one trip, they can book them in one request. They can book ahead for weeks and months according to their needs, and they can do their transportation planning basically using their mobile phone in simple clicks. For dispatchers, well, the dispatcher is the main role, or one of the main roles. As a fleet manager, the dispatcher is the one who receives the request through the system. The system is smarter and efficient way of allocation, and dispatchers has very excellent features, such as trip duplication, trip merging, and trip splitting. So even if you have a trip that you think that you would be sending the driver to a location, and the driver would need to come back from this location and then go back to the location with another driver, you can split one trip between more than one drivers, and you can even combine more than one trip in one shuttle based trip, where one driver would be transporting your passengers to different locations and to multiple stops. Of course, for administrations, the as a stakeholder administration, they have the ability to allocate transport costs based on usage, and they get insight into their travel and transport needs, and they get as well insight on their driver behavior, as the passenger is able to provide some kind of a feedback on driver behavior as soon as the trip is completed. So how does the thing look for a passenger? For a passenger, it's as simple as that. The passenger would go in and make a request through phone or web application. Once the request is done, the passenger would receive a confirmation, and this confirmation would basically be an email confirmation and mobile phone notification based confirmation. We ensure that the driver and the vehicle are ready and would show up on time, and we would need as well the passenger to show up on time and do not delay the trip further. Once the trip is complete, the passenger would receive a notification on his mobile phone or on his web-based app to ask him to provide feedback on the trip and feedback on driver behavior as well. Now, let's take a look at the tools that we have used. We have used different tools in building this system or in using the system. We have used the first tool we used is for drivers. The driver tool is an application that is called Freestyle app, and in this Freestyle app, driver can see what are the trips that are assigned to him by clicking my trips, and the driver as well can inspect his or her asset by checking the vehicle and taking photos and taking pictures of any damages, of any issues, of any mechanical issues, and that as well would show to the fleet manager in the fleet management system. And the driver can save a location. So if there is a location that we often go to, the driver would be able to save this location and to create it as a waypoint that becomes more of a drop down menu for passengers in the future. As well, the traveler can log in and the passenger can log in and use their WHO account. Of course, the way we developed or the way the system has been developed from our partners, we've used our WHO accounts. We had no need to create profiles or to create accounts. The only thing that we've done is that we connected our basically what we call single sign-on database with the system, so it becomes more of a WHO based system. And for dispatchers, well, dispatchers are able as well to log in using their mobile phones and their web applications. And the dispatcher main role would be to assign drivers and vehicles according to the passenger request. And the last user is the administration, where they issue reports and they issue driver behavior related reports and driver score summary and even trips related score summaries. Now, of the challenges that we faced in the implementation of such system, the main challenge was the resistance to change. The usual ad hoc trips excuse, where country offices would tell us, well, we are unable to plan our trips because our partners, our operation and our type of operation is emergency. We have more of an ad hoc based trips. However, by having consistent and persistent approach to the implementation, we were able to convince users that this is not the case. We can plan our transportation. We can aim to have 100% of our transportation pre-planned and well prepared, where such activities would mitigate our risks and our road crashes rate in general. Of course, one of the challenges we faced was user orientation. We have drivers and users that has been using the old systems or using no systems for a long while, and to orient them on a new system was challenging, especially that some of them are not very much tech savvy, or they don't have enough background on how to use computers or mobile applications sometimes. And we faced as well technology related challenges, especially when it comes to smartphones for drivers. In many country offices, we were finding challenges related to getting drivers notified because their mobile phones were not smartphones, or their mobile phones were old phones. We had to start on working on changing the driver smartphones and ensure that the devices that they have are adequate for such system. We faced system logic bugs and system updates. So the logic bugs are related, for instance, are related to distances calculated. The destinations are sometimes problematic. Remember that uh, when we started the system, we started rolling out the system or testing the system around 4 years ago, where the system was primitive in the beginning, and there were a lot of bugs, a lot of issues that we faced, and we had this feedback update cycles, which were as well long feedback and update and development cycles. However, the approach we faced, or the approach we took, is to start testing the application in one country, or to start testing the application with group of users, and to start troubleshooting the issues we have, and share our feedback and our troubleshooting and our bugs that we found with our partners in Terramar. And we wait for them to start updating the system and work on the solutions for these bugs and for these fixes. And once they are fixed, we start, testing the new sprint, so on and so forth. So this has been a long feedback, update, and development cycles. This was one of the challenges we faced. Now, in the implementation of transport booking system, how did we do it? And how did we structure our implementation strategy? So we've created what we called implementation teams, and this implementation team included or contained particular people. It had 4 persons, and these 4 persons were rollout team. This included admin officer, transport focal point, sorry, as a dispatcher, one driver representative, and one passenger user representative. And when we chose the passenger, we tried to choose the passengers that has more often trips that are done in country office. So this is the structure we had in the country office, in the place where we are trying to do the implementation. At the same time, the regional office has been providing the major support. So the admin service officer, in our case, his name is Mr. Maroon Karam, has been extremely supportive for country offices and for the regional fleet manager, myself, to do these groups and um, to somehow emphasize this communication on our colleagues, and to support the rollout and the implementation with our colleagues. And he had always encouraged country offices to do the implementation as soon as possible, and we are still in communication with all country offices to ensure that the implementation is taking place. And at the same time, we had our HQ stakeholders, our WHO Fleet Services, head by Frederick Kayet. They were their contact point between WHO as a system user and our developer of the system, Terramar, and they were providing the guidance and rollout instruction. WHO, the HQ, WHO Fleet Services support has been crucial when it comes to the weekly clinic. We have held what is called weekly clinic. It's a weekly meeting, a weekly webinar that is dedicated only to discuss the transport booking system, where focal points, fleet focal points, and implementation team members join into this weekly clinic every Thursday, and they start discussing either the challenges, feedback. They share their experiences regarding the implementation of the transport booking system, and this has proved to be crucial in our implementation. So the steps we followed are simple. Um, the first phase was the period of the first phase was 1 to 2 weeks. We ask the country offices to start attending the transport booking clinic, which is held every week, and we start activating the transport booking vehicle pool in the system track point, and we start updating drivers phones and emails, and we start reviewing our waypoints, the often visited locations. We create the dispatcher account, and we train the dispatchers how to pilot and test the system. The second phase is from 2 to 4 weeks. As you can see, the phases, the periods of the phases are prolonged, just to make sure that we are giving it enough time to be tested and to be to get feedback collected at adequate manner. So from 2 to 4 weeks, we start accompanying users and drivers. We inform and meet users and drivers. We start letting them know how the system is going to be rolled out, what would be their role, what should they expect, what are we expecting from them, so on and so forth. And we start downloading the application on users' profiles. So in some cases, we had fleet focal points going to passengers' offices, sitting with them one by one, just ensuring that they are installing the system on their mobile phones and they are able to log in and create their profiles and start using the system easily. Then the third phase is the transition phase. We gave a gradual transition phase that is built from 1 to 3 months. And in this transition phase, we keep on collecting the feedback and troubleshoot the issues. Of course, once the transition phase is completed and all the communication is done with all the stakeholders, all the passengers, all the country office staff, once this is completed, we directly proceed to letting people know that we will not be accepting any requests out of the transport booking system. And we started calculating or checking our success, and we started checking what would be the key indicators for success for us. So the key indicators are either qualitative or quantitative. uh, in qualitative, we would expect that all staff and dispatchers can successfully access the tool and use it easily, and that we collect useful feedback and experiences, including elements of tool that works well and what needs improvement. And the task force or the team members provide input to make the tool more operational and functional. On the quantitative, we aim for 100% of staff to create their accounts and download the app, and that 95% of transport requests are done through the system, and 90% of the users are satisfied. Now, let me give you statistics in 2022. Of course, keep in mind that we've been using the system for 4 years. I'm just sharing the statistics for 2022. As well, I'm going to share qualitative and quantitative statistics. We have had 56,344 trips that has been booked in 2022. 44,000 of these trips, 44, or let's say close to 45,000 of these trips has been scheduled and completed. 11,000 of these trips has been cancelled or has been considered as test trips. In January, we started in the average of 1.7 passenger per trip, and we were aiming to increase the number of passengers per trip. In December 2022, our average was 2 passengers per trip. We have completed the transportation for 81,951 passengers in 2022, almost 82,000 passengers. And the system is now active in 19 countries in WHO. 6 of them are in EMRO region, where I'm providing direct support to these regions. And we have now pilot testing that is going on right now in the 3-phase process that I shared with you in 5 countries. And the key activities that we conduct are communication packs. We have Office in a Box packs. These communication packs includes presentations, email drafts, user guides, videos, you name it, whatever is related to education is there. And we have briefing with key staff groups and management that goes on before the implementation. The weekly clinics to guide the implementation every Thursday at 11 a.m. And we have dedicated troubleshooting and support email specialized for this particular topic. And we capture issues that emerge and liaise with Terramar to resolve. Allow me as well to highlight that the support that we've been getting from our partners has been substantial. and due to that, we consider the success of using the system. Um, I see it's 12. I see that there are 6 minutes left. This is my presentation. The floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Yes.
And I hope you enjoyed this session. Thank you.
Thank you, Tariq. So I see we've brought with some quite some number of questions have been popping up, and Frederick has been answering some of them as well. So I'm going to focus on the ones that haven't been answered as yet. So
Yes.
let's start with Simon from OSCE. Let me get the Q&A up 1 second. Here we go. So Simon's question is, sorry if I missed it, but does the TBS also work with self-drive journeys? Self-drive, as in Tariq, that the passenger themselves is driving themselves to the meeting.
Yes,
Yeah. Can you
yes,
comment on this?
absolutely. Yes, very good question, Simon. Yes, well, that's why even sometimes our rate or average passenger per trip is not going up so high because we have trips that are done without passengers. Yes, driver can book for themselves, and there are trips that are well basically has zero passenger that are related to maybe new administration work or sometimes to send post to an office, so on and so forth. So yes, it is possible.
Okay. Okay. Let's take another question from, let me see, let's go to Jamie. Here we go. What is the average lead time from when the booking request is made to when the trip is needed? Do you have a rough idea on that, Tarek?
Excellent question, Jamie. Yes, well, there are different lead times, and the lead time is, and this is one of the nice things in the system. The lead time is discussed with the country office, so each country office can decide what is the cutoff time for their trips. For instance, here in the regional office in Cairo, our cutoff time is around 8 hours. So you cannot book a trip in the period of 8 hours. In some country offices, it can go over to 24 hours. In some country offices, it can go over as well to 48 hours, according to the country office need and how they see their cutoff times.
Thank you. Now, a question from Tesfai. What is your reasoning for reducing the number of passengers per trip to two? Is it COVID related, or why not 3 to 4 passengers?
Okay, good question. Well, we're not aiming to reduce the number of passengers per se. Our goal is to increase the number of passengers. Of course, COVID guidelines limited the number of passengers that are supposed to be transported in our vehicles. However, our aim is to increase the number of passengers per trip, so accordingly reduced environmental impact and reduced fuel consumption.
Yeah. Thank you, Tariq. So, Tariq, there's a number of questions also around. Let's focus on the first part of this question, right? So, this is from Sunday from Nigeria. Does the system support carpooling for interagency? And on the cost question, if you don't mind me suggesting, Tariq, Sunday, I think it would be best if you reach out to the provider for that, right? There you'll get some more detailed information. But at least on the, can you comment on the system support for carpooling for interagency?
Yes, excellent. Well, to be honest, we started using the system in WHO. However, the system itself is not closed on WHO users. So even if we have a trip that is supposed to be done by any other team members or any other agencies, we can basically book for them and send our drivers to do the service for them. However, no, we have only used the system within WHO so far.
Clear, clear. And for those of you who have questions around like carpooling and systems, I think from Fleet Forum side, I'm looking to my colleague as well, who's sitting not too far away from me. We are currently conducting a pilot around this in Lebanon. We can, if you want some more information on not what the optimal system is, but what requirements are unique to vehicle sharing between agencies, we'll look into this and we can also share some information with you about this.
Indeed. Indeed.
Let's pick up one more question. Let me see. Aram, is the system also designed to work as a logbook to be recorded by drivers, and can we monitor GPS?
Excellent question, Aram. To be honest, the system is so far is used like a logbook, but We refrain from canceling logbook just by once. We just want to make sure that the data that is being collected from the system is good enough to be considered as a logbook. And as you know, logbooks are auditable documents where passengers sign on receiving the service. So it does not replace the logbook. However, it works with it. And yes, we can monitor the trip using GPS and connecting the data from transport booking system and the tracker records.
Okay. Okay. Um, Tariq, I'm feeling very. I'm in a great mood today. One last question. Last question.
Does the
Because
TBS produce the
yes,
cost allocation report? Yes. Yes. Very good question, Henry. Yes, it does produce the cost allocation report, and how it is linked to finance for the purpose of cost recovery. Well, I would say that there is no particular linkage to finance per se, but the only link is that the fleet focal point would take this documentation and share it with finance, as simple as that. However, the way the finance or the way the system is set up, so the user of the system or the dispatcher from the back end would be able to do the cost allocation according to particular denominators. So either
denominator.
yes, either it is the kilometer or the the hourly or the period times. So in some cases it is the kilometer, and in some cases it's by hour.
Super, super. Thank you, Tarek. I hope this webinar has been useful to many of you. I really want to thank you. Every week I notice we get more and more active during the webinars. Lots of great questions. So thanks to all of you for being an active audience. I take a note that there are quite a number of questions. So my colleague and I will also look at, maybe we can look at future webinars also around this topic. We will definitely explore it. If you have feedback for us, please remember, right after this we have a quick survey to get your feedback on the session. And if you have ideas for new sessions, you can always reach out to us as well. A big thank you to Tariq for making the time to prepare this, for sharing on this topic, which is clearly on everybody's mind. We will share the webinar recording after this, in the course of today. So you can share it with your colleagues who are also Fleet Forum members. And once again, thank you to you all. Please stay tuned. Next week we also have a very hot and interesting webinar around the impact of different interventions when it comes to road traffic crashes. What does the research say? And we want to get your thoughts on that as well. So please make sure to join the webinar next week as well. Thank you all so much, and a big thank you to Tariq. Have a great day,
Thank you, Malika.
everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.